one really important thing that you have to do for your employer is keep the things of a tedious nature away from them. That's why they kind of hire you, right? Their job is like to be efficient. They're thinking about like other things, so you got to keep the tedious things away from them. But in efficiency, once there's a precedent for like what the bare minimum is needed, so like you can because the bottom line of the owners and the owners are, so I keep tedious things away from the boss. The boss thinks of efficiency and downsizes the staff. The owners now are have a bottom line, and they're a little bit disconnected from a true sense of like how precarious their business might be, even if it is lucrative, even if it does profit. So by downsizing the staff to an efficient, capable minimum, the owners will, look around and see what kind of pressure that they can put on that boss to run things efficiently with a minimum of staff, a minimum of costs, a minimum of supplies or whatever. And the managers under that boss have an expectation to accomplish, so much, and with what's, given, so much that they can consistently accomplish with the human resources available to them, right? Then let's say there's something that is pressuring the boss, is like he has to, he's accountable for the bottom line that the owners have, right? They might be on him for one thing, but not understand something. Like they might be a little bit out of the loop, because the lowest people keep the tedious, mundane things away from the managers and or the bosses, the managers. The managers accomplish with minimal provisions what can be efficiency, so that the boss can be like, like, I run this place well. Like the owners won't question his ability to run the place, right? Then if something threatens, like if the boss is under pressure by the owners for something, whether he's capable or not of pulling it off, the owners have to have something that they can understand as to being like an element of like their bottom line, and they have to be able to address that. It's on them. If it's not on them, it's on the boss. So if the boss is in a bad mood, he might want the baseline, the baseline, laborers to fail at something that could be it's hard to explain this, okay, but there's something about yield and productivity that is distressing for him, in light of he's stretched too thin. If the managers accomplish their task early, like, you know, ahead of kind of like ahead of schedule or early, with a minimum of human resources, like a staff, then they're going to downsize and they're not going to get that staff. So there's more pressure on them to come up with the results that it might have been an emergency where they, came up with these results and just skating by, like, on the skin, by the skin of their teeth. Well, now they're expected to skate by on the skin of their teeth, or to get by the skin of their teeth every day. Oh, you did that? That was pretty neat. You could do that every day. Then the managers are stressed because their obligations or their duties are hard to accomplish, and they have a minimal means to accomplish it, but they're under pressure to accomplish it. Then if there's a thing where the yield of the product that the general staff, the labor, whatever, is able to produce, but there's a precarious nature to the boss has no security. Like, he doesn't feel secure. He could be replaced by the owners. The owners, then his interests can conflict with the labor, because their productivity, right? The managers are like kind of and for this instance, they're kind of in a safe zone. But I mean, they might have other tasks and obligations that they have to fulfill, like, throughout the day, right? But to ask the bosses to downsize and still protect the bottom line, or that stresses the managers, who have to delegate that limited human resources to accomplish it. And then the laborers they're in a safe zone, because it's like, oh, it's not my responsibility, I just show up. You can't, like, find a reason why we're not doing everything we can, and we're on time, and we work hard, so we're pretty safe. I mean, other than they're not really, because their job can evaporate. If the bottom line isn't met, then that job is gone. Like, you don't have to get fired, they can just shut down. But let's say that the laborers are successful in something like producing yield, whatever that is. I'm using, like, generic words. It can be contentious with the bosses. That's what they want, but there might be something that, because the owners are in a bubble kind of way, that they're missing the concept of it. It's like the consistency of being able to every day successfully accomplish all the tasks and everything, but they have more, they're getting enough and more yield than what they would have expected, right? Like the boss might have to, like, want them to slow that down, and not tell them that. Not he might have a conflicting interest in them slowing that down so that he can acquire more resources to spread around to get the staff up, to get equipment and supplies, materials. They're skimping out, or not, like they're successful, they're productive, like profitable, but even in that profitability, they're skimping out on materials. I mean, of course, like, I don't know, video gamers were talking about how, like, they didn't want to spend, $100 on a box with a code inside of it instead of an actual game. They'd tell you to download it online or something. So you're paying for this game, but you're just getting a code in a box, and they didn't want to that because they didn't have to or want to before download some fucking game on a PC on the internet or something. There were supposed to be these savings passed down to them, but instead the price went up because, like, the producers of the game pocketed the savings, and then they had, like, well, they're like kind of destroying their own business model. I mean, every industry is like a little bit different or something. But you would think that, I mean, why do they say shit floats downstream? What should be floating downstream, because the owners are happy, they're like successful. What if the business is successful? It shouldn't be shit that's floating downstream. It should be appreciation. But it never changes, because, like, we're keeping tedious things away from bosses. Bosses are keeping are taking the responsibility for the investors. If anything is dissatisfactory, they're the ones that delegate, so they take the responsibility. They could be fired. The ultimate responsibility goes into the investors and the owners, because they can lose money, right? But then the bosses can lose jobs, then or, like, the bosses and the managers can get demoted, whatever. Laborers can get fired, and then you don't have, like, a good long work history to take to the next job, so you're kind of like, I'm forced to lie, like forced to embellish. So there's like this kind of, we're forced to be good at bending over backwards like a contortionist, to come up with like a bullshit that looks good. And then there's some people that like above that like the way that's presented. If you can present this bullshit in a way that I like it, then take every little credit for anything that you did, even if it's not like, even if you don't think it's work related. It could be worded into a way that makes you seem like you're reliable and everything. I mean, perhaps you are reliable, but you gotta, even if you are reliable, you gotta bullshit more, because something happened where, like, redundancy issues at your last work. You have to be able to explain why they downsized, and then, like, that's gonna be like a lot of words, too busy. You can't have a whole paragraph on your resume. Anyway, I'm not complaining about anything. I mean, I'm still employed and anything, I'm just looking at these, like, weird dynamics. Like, how our leaders are in, like, these bubbles. If there's some primary source evidence that you can show them, you can't approach them, you can't get near them. If they came near them to see it, there would be phalanxes of, like, managers that of those, or, like, that intercede and intercept you, so that they can't see, so that they can't put eyes on it, because they're not supposed to look at that. Everybody's doing whatever's successful for them, even if it's not the protocol that you're supposed to go by. and they're doing it for different reasons. We might all agree on what needs to be done in order to be successful that day, but we'll have different reasons for doing it, and shit flows downstream, because at the very bottom level, you have to know what those reasons are. Not, I want to see some like fancifully worded, like mental gymnastical type of like soft, like like it's what they have. If England couldn't defeat us and we couldn't secure a surrender from them, then they're like these like they form these like power groups that go out and have they try to accomplish what they did in the past with soft coups, instead of like a worldwide navy that can enforce their interests and enforce their laws abroad, like their law. Like we have to enforce our laws and protect our interests abroad, and they did it through strength, might, but now it's through like these like soft coups, and keeping like it's kind of like through the university now. So like their English power is like dispensed through universities, and forming these groups, bonds with these like highly educated like CEOs, and their establishment is like education, university, and like they form these like groups, these pacts, and they're like power. They're power blocks or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they call this shit, but it's like they engage in soft coups all around the world, instead of like Navy blockade and shit, like where you can see it's obvious that it's them that's ruling. It's not obvious that it's them, because it's like the group of entrepreneurs that met in Yale or something, but like they were all unified under some element, aspect, some kind of the British crown or something. Anyway, I'm tired of talking.